Can you give one to Steve?
Record.
Kristen.
Kristen, is Kristen home?
She's remote, I believe.
Oh,
she said.
okay.
Yeah,
She's remote?
she might be
All right.
at best.
Let me just make a quick
She
phone
is a
call.
work phone.
Oh, this is a sign-in sheet. Anyone?
Oh, can you please sign in, Deb?
Will you sign in? Planning really quick.
Okay.
So let me just call him back.
So I stopped by
Actually,
the,
I'm just gonna call him right
I
there.
stopped by town hall by accident, and it's locked up, so,
Town hall's locked up?
yeah. I don't know if the back door, well, I don't know if the back door was open, but.
No, it must all be locked up. Oh, we're all in there working.
Where's the agenda, Steve?
Do we have an agenda? Oh, you're right behind. No, is that the minute? Or those the minutes? I don't, Holly might not have printed it for us. It's posted online.
Oh, I need one now.
You want it in physical format?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we have one, unfortunately.
You can't get any printed in the police station?
Can we get them printed from here? I could call Holly. I think she just stopped by the town hall. I'll give Holly a call and see if she can get it printed.
What's that?
Hey Holly, could you print any agendas?
No, I did not.
Could you please
I
print?
will.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank Dave.
Missing a copy machine down here when we're in this room.
It'll make it much easier.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we're only meeting here today because the Board of Health is booked at 6. Otherwise, we keep our normal meeting location. All right. Hey, Kristen, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Great. Hold on, I'm trying to do a million things at once. Let me see what your message was. Can you email what you need to print out if you do not have done? I can call Holly and see if she can send you the minutes. Or I'll wait for her to come back. She should be back in a minute. But I think the minutes are the only. I think the other thing will be the draft to our open meeting law complaint. So I'll email that to you, Kristen. We haven't started the meeting yet, by the way. We're just getting.
I gathered that.
All right.
Well, that's just the back and forth type thing. I just wanted to take a picture because I sent them it. I know, but I didn't know if anybody else needed to see it.
Alright, Kristen, I just sent you an email with the draft for our open meeting law complaint response. And I sent it to the full commission too. I have printed copies for anybody else who'd like to see it. And Dave, would you like to see a draft of our response before we,
What's that?
the open meeting law complaint that you filed?
Yeah.
We're gonna be reviewing the draft that I prepared. Would you like to see a copy of that when it comes to that? Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, well,
Yeah, I can give it to you now if you want
Oh,
to see
okay.
it in advance.
when you say draft, what's that mean?
Well, we have to provide a response.
Oh, okay, that's what you're doing tonight.
Yes.
Right, okay, yeah.
Is that why you're here?
That's one of the reasons, yeah.
Alright.
I had nothing better to do, you know what I mean? As busy as I am.
I'm not trying to give you anything better to do here. If you can find better stuff to do elsewhere,
Oh,
that's cool
believe me, I
too.
do, I got tons of stuff to do.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I made up too many pages there. Two, one,
You still remember?
Yeah, it's, 2 pages,
Oh,
right?
two did?
yeah, 2 pages.
That's,
Thank you, man.
Thank you. And Dave would like one as well. Did you give him one? Alright, thank you so much.
thank you, Roland.
Alright, I think we're good to go.
I don't think we need one today. Maybe I do, I don't know.
There you go.
Alright, welcome to the Brookfield Conservation Commission. Today's date is November 19th, 2025. The time is 5:38 p.m. I call this meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded. First item on our agenda is we have Deborah and Richard Brigham. Deborah sent us an inquiry about removing 4 dead trees near wetlands on 46 Weber Road, which is across from your property at 49 Weber Road.
Yep.
So on the associated documents for this meeting, I posted Deborah's original email, and also in follow-up for that, Steve Santucci, Paul Spencer, and myself did a site visit a couple weeks ago and assessed the situation there. So I put my site visit inspection report as an associated document too, which we took some photos, had a discussion, and I summarized our findings there. So as far as the site conditions are concerned, the ground is relatively flat and there's no obstacles between the trees and the road. And the trees are less than 50 feet from the road. It's flat and clear, there's no obstacles in the way. The location of the trees themselves are at the edge of the tree line there. They're right up front, so they're easy to access there. One thing that did come up in our conversation there was based on the property lines that are shown on various sources. It seems like there was a shift on that, but that's because in following up with this with our town assessor, the assessor's maps are inaccurate. They have the town line shifted, but if you look at the registry of deeds, the property lines,
I did bring it if you need it.
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the original plan of land does have your property at 49 and 46
Actually, it
aligned.
goes more like this, it doesn't go straight,
Mhm.
it goes like that, so that, it's like, you know,
We live on the smaller part and then we have
Yeah.
property across the street.
is straight and half.
Probably-
They were questioning because there's no markers there, but we used the marker on the opposite side of the street where you'll see how it lines up.
Yeah.
Who's they that was questioning it?
The
Whoever
assessors
the
when they
people
came,
that
because
came
there's no
checked it.
markers on the opposite
Yeah.
side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill, if you look at the map on Mass Mapper and other resources, the property lines are shifted about 50 feet. But that's because they're inaccurate in their record, but the official Registry of Deeds record does have the property lines aligned. So, no concerns about it being off your property based on that clarification. So thank you for checking with the assessor and following through with that. And you also did, I should mention that here we have representing the property, Deborah Brigham and Richard Brigham. And Deborah, you mentioned that you had, in your email, that you had an arborist
Yep.
look at the trees.
Yes.
And is that,
John Pasquale, yeah.
in the photo in that email, is
Yes,
that
do you
provided?
wanna see that?
No, we have it as a meeting
Oh, okay.
material.
Yeah.
Where it points to the 4 trees and notes that they're failing, and
One's actually leaning against another tree because it's already fell.
mhm. So your request here is to remove those trees
Yeah.
because there's concerns about damage to your property.
Well, for the vehicles that we parked over there. A few years back, we lost our camper because a good tree fell over. You know
I
what I
see.
mean? So this summer, after the summer, I noticed the other ones is like, oh my gosh, they're even leaning,
It's starting to lean.
yeah.
We have 2 trailers over there now.
Mhm. Yeah, we've had a lot of high wind these past
Yeah.
few weeks too, so it's unfortunate that nothing has happened in this
I know.
particular period of time. So I guess the consideration here is, how does the commission want to proceed with this? Do we feel, like, as far as the positioning of the trees, they are, from observation, it does not appear that they are in wetlands. They might be within the buffer zone, but granted, this is a pretty minor project and the trees are very easy to access from the road, so.
I think since it's considered emergency, it could be considered exempt as well.
Yeah, but we have to, if we consider it an emergency formally, we have to go through the emergency permitting process, which I think it might be better for us if we do want to just say, this seems like a minor project, doesn't require permitting, we could just go in that direction, if we feel comfortable with it.
We're not gonna knock them down ourselves, we're having a
That's
professional
pretty person
do
that
it.
comes
Cherry
to do it.
picker.
Yeah, it might be worth discussing how they will be removed, to make sure that there's minimal impacts to the resource area.
Well, they're supposed to be cutting it in sections, you
Mhm.
know, to bring it down, especially that one that is leaning, because you can't just cut it.
Cut that down, they'll knock down the
Because
other
it could
trees too.
swing, it, you know, you could have a lot of problems, so he's taking that down to sections,
Mhm.
for sure. And the other ones he's taking down like in bigger sections,
Yeah,
with he had the boom
and you mentioned,
truck and everything.
you mentioned in your email that the stumps will be left,
Yes.
which is good,
Yeah,
because it's
we're
a
not gonna, yeah.
thing,
I
you
don't
know,
even
because.
wanna talk, I don't even wanna pay for the trees coming down, but it's better than that than a vehicle being destroyed.
Yeah. Kristen, who was our other commissioner's remote, she asks if you will plant other trees to replace them.
We do not plan on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't,
And these are not in the resource area from what we can see, so I don't think that there would be a need to replant.
I
And
mean,
this
they're
is,
replanting themselves as you go, you know what I mean? The trees themselves replant themselves over there, but no, we're not planting.
okay, and as far as best practices, leaving the stumps is good because that would be ground disturbance if you were to remove them. Cutting the stumps fairly low would also be ideal.
Okay.
In my opinion. Also, I guess there's a consideration about what you'll do with the downed trees. Will you leave them there? Will you?
Would be good if we could leave them there, but
But
I
if
mean,
we need to remove it, we'll remove it. You tell us what we need to do and we'll do it.
So what does the commission feel, how does the commission feel about that?
It's always good to have more habitat.
Do you think it's okay to let the trees fall where they are?
Yeah, I think they're dead enough that they were useful to the area.
It's effectively just accelerating something now so it's not a danger later.
Right.
So
That's
just let
all.
it.
It's the same process.
It's gonna fall eventually, put it
Yeah.
that way.
If there's any type of debris that happens from it, like branches and whatnot, I would recommend clearing that out from the general area if it's an obstacle. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a need for removing them.
Okay.
But no chipping of the trees or anything of that nature.
no
So
one-
No,
no
You-
chipping.
you don't want, you want us to chip it?
No,
or
don't
not?
chip them.
No,
Don't chip.
no.
That would be too much debris. But if you just want to leave
I'm
them,
sure it'd be more money too, so, no.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
But the consideration would be if some of the trees fell, say, past the resource, or sorry, in front of your, between the road and the clearing and whatnot.
Oh,
If you had to-
Oh, that will be
That way
cleared
we
out.
clear out.
Yeah, make sure you clear that out,
Oh, we
and,
will.
yeah, don't leave any debris in that
No, we
area,
won't.
because that might be potentially within the wetland buffer zone.
Okay.
Okay, so, any other questions, considerations? Alright, so it seems like we're all in agreement that the trees should be left where they are, and if there's any debris, make sure that it's cleared out, like, within the clearing. That,
Yeah.
which I think you would want to anyway, because you're utilizing that
Yes,
space for
yeah,
your camper and
yeah.
your vehicles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so we're not doing any RDA, right? So we're just allowing this, potentially. Are we gonna try to put conditions to it, just, beyond what's just stated here?
I think that's what we're doing right now, just establishing best practice conditions to make sure that any potential impacts are minimized.
Mhm.
Granted, this is not in the resource area. It might be within the buffer zone, but it's close. It's really hard to tell whether it's 100 feet because there's no wetland flagging in that area, but they're so close to the tree line and clearing that I'm not personally concerned about that formal process. But just to make sure that things are in order, I think the conditions, it's worth entertaining these conditions, yeah.
I'm just thinking that maybe what we wanna do is draft a letter to just kinda outline some of this stuff, in terms of like where they're gonna be doing work, cause we've seen people come out and have, contractors come in and just go wherever they want and drive all over the buffer zone and just decide to do any kind of work. So, I mean, as long as they stay on the upland side of the wetland.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it'd
He's
be.
gonna use his boom truck, so
Yeah.
he wants to be on the level area.
Sure, no,
Yeah.
I just think in terms of, our ways of working, we should probably get used to having some sort of documentation about it, so.
Yeah, so I think the conditions would be just what we've outlined here, so leave the stumps.
Yep.
Cut them down low. If any, you can leave the trees where
Yep.
they fall.
Yeah.
And any trees that fall within the clearing area,
That will be clear.
clear up any debris.
Yeah.
Like remove it from the site, like no chipping or
Yeah.
anything like that, just remove the fallen trees or branches that fall in that area.
Now, do you give us a letter, so, cause John wants to have a letter or something saying that it's okay to do it,
Yeah, and
Cause
that's what
now
Bill was
we'll do it.
suggesting here, that we can set conditions in a letter,
okay?
and, so, I mean, I'd be happy to draft that letter if the commission would, well, somebody else would like to, but I'm on board with that.
Did anybody take the order of conditions class at the last meeting?
No, not yet.
I think it's pretty simple, but I mean, you probably want this sooner than later, but I think,
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly I can turn it around, so if you think you can turn it around fairly quick.
I can do it by the end of tomorrow, so,
That's fine.
Yeah.
And
I'll
you'll
se-
just email it to me?
yeah, I'll email it to you. So can I get a motion for that, can I get a motion to have authorization to send Deborah Brigham an email of approval to remove these 4 fallen trees with conditions?
So moved.
Second.
Alright, all in favor, say your name and I.
Steve Santucci, aye.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Bill Meeker, aye.
Megan Crane, aye.
Steve Carmen, aye. Alright, thank you, Kristen. I could hear you there. I'm gonna turn my my speaker up. And since we are having a remote meeting, we do have to have roll call votes, so we do it
I
anyway,
can hear
but,
it. I heard it.
okay, great. Okay, so I think that's it. So I'll be in contact. I'll send you an email, with that approval and the conditions.
Okay,
And if John Pasquale has any questions, he can give me a call as
Yeah.
well.
yeah, no problem.
Alright, cool.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much for coming out.
Flag, no.
They're nice ones, but.
Alright, our next agenda item is Gay Road construction, anonymous complaint, and next steps. So a couple weeks ago, I got a call from Mass DEP, Becky Gendro, and she said that she received an anonymous complaint about road construction on Gay Road. She said the general details of her complaint were concerns about, let me see if I have it in my notes, because I just want to state it exactly as it was a phone call, so there was no record of the complaint other than that call. So let's see. Okay, so the concerns were widening the road near resource areas, stockpiling materials near resource areas, removing drainage culverts, and insufficient erosion controls. So, for background context, the commission was not presented with the road construction aspect of this project. We were presented with culvert replacements for this project back in April, and we gave approval to the highway department to replace 4 culverts on Gay Road, and they submitted an RDA for that, and we assessed at that point that it was covered by a town-wide notice of intent that the highway department has for routine maintenance. But that was only for culvert replacements, so the following road construction was never applied for permitting through us. So we're kind of in this position now of trying to play catch up for a project that was never presented to us formally. So I spoke with our highway superintendent, Kyle Rotowski, after getting that complaint. I said that I would like to schedule a site visit to look at the conditions on the road, and that following Sunday we did a site visit. So Megan Crane, Paul Spencer, and myself went out, and from the highway department, Scott Slowowski met with us. And we drove down the road, looked at the conditions, and noted some potential areas of concern, and I put together a site inspection report. It's also attached to the meeting materials. I actually did 2 site inspection reports because I went there twice, but the first one was on November 9th. And at that time, my findings for that was that we did not receive a wetlands permit application for the road construction. We only received an application for the culvert replacements. As far as the site conditions go, road regrading was completed up to the power lines, which there's a crossing of the power lines of about 1,000 feet approximately before the Sturbridge town line. And there's loose material present at the shoulder of the roads, and the cross culverts are reinforced with riprap. Some of those conditions were in there at the last site visit that I did in June for the, we received a complaint then about the culvert replacement work that was being done at that point. So some of those conditions were there, but the road regrading was completely new as of this point. I also asked Kyle at that point to provide us with the road construction engineering plans, and that was our first time seeing them then. And on those plans it indicates straw wattles along large sections of the road, and those straw wattles were not present on the site, so definitely not I could see why there'd be a complaint about minimal erosion controls or insufficient erosion controls, because they were mostly absent at that point, except for a few straw wattles at some of the culverts.
I think that's more often their best practice lately. Seeing some of the work they've done, just kind of like clearing some of, like Weber Road, I noticed like when they just came out there and they just had a guy come out there with a skid steer and just was kind of digging up on the sides of the road, and there was no erosion control at all. So.
And was it also near resource areas?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think it's perhaps something that we need to coordinate better with the highway department about, to let them know the expectations, that if they are doing any type of dredging or filling or altering of wetlands or areas near wetlands, like granted, Brookfield has lots of roads that are near wetlands. In their townwide NOI that they still have does set some conditions, but it does say that they should set up erosion controls when doing this type of work. So they might not necessarily need new permitting for some of this, which might fall under routine maintenance. They should still be putting in erosion controls, and we should be doing site visits and coordinating with them. But it's kind of hard when they don't come to us with those projects, and we have to find out after the fact when we get complaints, or hear through the grapevine that something's happening that wasn't presented to us.
So we didn't post the townwide NOI to this as a document, but.
Sorry, for the meeting materials?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Can't find it here.
I did, because I figured it would be part of this conversation. It's the document called Gay Road Culvert Replacements Existing Townwide Notice of Intent.
There we go.
But yeah, we can jump to that in 1 second. But
It was just my understanding that each individual project needed to be a notification.
yes, as part of the order of conditions of that townwide NOI, they must notify the Conservation Commission of those projects. And we received no notification.
Okay.
So it's just a communication issue that we need to resolve. I think
mean, let's be honest, though, I mean, if this were, you know, if this were anybody else other than the highway department, we'd be considering enforcement orders and you know, going out there telling them to stop doing the work, you know, stop work orders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, you know, we have to look at it from that perspective as well.
yeah, for sure. Like, we cannot give preferential treatment, even if it is a public project that is to the benefit of everybody, but we're here to help our municipality follow regulations.
Yeah.
So I think we need to approach the relationship from that point of view, is that we are here to work with the highway department. We are not opposition, we are not wetland cops. I mean, to a degree we are, but we are by our state law requirement. So, and I've had conversations with Kyle, and I think we have an understanding, but I think this project in particular was a little bit difficult because from my conversations with select board members and highway department, it seems like there was no project manager assigned to it, so it seems like based on this project being partly handled in-house and then handed over to a contractor, there was no proper assignment of a project manager. So we get people pointing fingers at each other, saying who should have let the Conservation Commission know, and in the end, nobody did. So moving forward, we'll just have to make sure that we do better to make sure that they're contacting us. It's not necessarily our requirement to let them know that, but if they don't, I think we need to be a little bit more strict. Like, I don't want to approach this from an enforcement order point of view either. And speaking with Becky Gentry from Mass DEP, she's of the opinion that we try to work through this from she was okay with us working through this through a remediation point of view, as opposed to an enforcement point of view. So if there are any issues that we do see from this, if they can be addressed through, if the road was widened in areas that encroach in the wetlands, we can do replication after the fact, but we will have to assess those conditions afterwards. If there's any fill that has happened that areas need to be restored, we can request that as well. But it's a lot harder for us to do this when the engineered plans are not being followed closely from what I understand. And from the other side of things, we're playing catch up now where we weren't engaged in those conversations, even though I requested that we be invited to the pre-construction meeting, and we never received an invite to that either. So, based on that initial site visit, I reached out to Kyle and the select board and let Kyle know there were a couple of areas that the commissioners, Megan, Paul, and myself indicated that they should add imminent erosion controls because they're right near cross culverts that aren't protected. So within the next day, Kyle went out and he put straw wattles in those areas. So I drove by the next day and I took photos of that, and that's my second site visit report to indicate afterwards the photos of those areas now being protected. In my initial site visit report, I noted that the parking area where, like near the power line crossing, there's a makeshift parking area there where contractors are parking their vehicles. That area is kind of a mess too, and that's very close to wetlands. So there might be some remediation that needs to be done to that area too. So I've brought that to Kyle's attention, and we will review that once the contractor gets their vehicles out of there, which might be very soon, because I think they might be almost done with their part of the project. And Sarah's in attendance, and she brought to my attention that through a posting online that they're paving the road yesterday. She told me that on Monday, so that is something that only came to me without communication again from any project manager form on this particular project. But I did note on this project in particular to please let us know if you're doing any work between the power line crossing and the Sturbridge town line, because that area is very close to wetlands. So I brought that to Kyle's attention, and he said that he would put up additional straw wattles before they pave. So that's where things stand right now, but we're
Is there any reason why he's not here tonight?
I did not specifically invite him. I guess that's part of it. But I think we need to have a follow-up conversation with whoever is responsible for this project, and I think to an extent it might fall on the highway superintendent in this, with the lack of an otherwise project manager taking on this project. Like when Kimball Street was done, there was a separate project manager hired for that project. It was Bill Storty through, that particular grant had like an engineering firm represent the project, and I think when it's handled in that capacity, things go a little bit smoother, but in the absence of that, we need to make sure that even if we're handling this in-house to a certain degree, we need to make sure that we're coordinating with those parties, even if they are not going through the process that we're expecting them to go through. But the townwide NOI is the other aspect of this, and that might cover some aspects of this project where it's simply just grinding and repaving the road, but any drainage changes or road widening, that, in my opinion, would be outside of routine maintenance. So that's the distinction here. So I think as far as next, oh sorry, Kristen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. So, I heard that someone mentioned, you know, we don't want to set preference, you know, to town folks, and I do absolutely understand that. So at this point, we have something we're not happy with as a commission, and I think if it was anyone else as well, that's when we usually give a formal, we would like to speak with you and create the order of conditions to continue.
Yep.
And so I think that the next special meeting, we should, you know, they should be ready for us, and we should give a formal letter to them, letting them know that their attendance is required.
Yeah, sounds good. I think if we can get, I think at this point it might be Kyle as the highway superintendent, since there was no other project manager assigned to the project from my understanding. Is that right, Sarah? Do you know that from the select board point of view? Like there was no project manager
No
assigned to the
project
project?
manager.
Okay.
No, the way that the RFR went out, which is a request for response, after talking to Corey, it only stopped at the RFP. So there was to come up with the engineered plans and to place out the RFP, but as soon as we granted the contract, as far as project management, it ended. The only thing that he's responsible for is any engineered like shop drawings that needed to be changed, but that has to do with the plans, but that's not project maintenance.
Mhm.
So yeah, the way that the RFR went out, and like you compared it to Kimball Street, which is, yeah, right, 100%. Kimball Street included that project management aspect of it, which is Gay Road didn't, and I think it's because originally the price for Gay Road was like 1.2 million, and we only had 1.3 or 1.4, so I think it wasn't considered in the budget at that time to have the project maintenance be considered, and now that we're coming in $300,000 less than the original price, now we have that wiggle room, but we didn't know that in the beginning.
Okay.
So I feel like I kind of agree, we're playing catch up.
Yeah, so I think during this catch-up phase, I think our next step might be to do one more site visit and let Kyle know, and then for our next regularly scheduled meeting, we could invite Kyle to attend and we can review that. We can draft perhaps some conditions as a commission in anticipation of that, and I think after we do our next follow-up site visit, we could perhaps look at that in terms of the work that's been done as of this point and compare it to the road construction plans that are currently there. Granted, there have been some changes to it, but there may be shop drawings, or maybe there are to be created shop drawings to confirm what was actually done. So I think we'll have to do a little bit of research before we get there. But yeah, Kristen, I'm in agreement with you that we should draft those conditions and have a conversation with the highway superintendent so we can move forward with that. And I'm sure Kyle will be happy to work with us, given the importance of this.
Sure too, it's those most reasonable people, if we set the same precedents for each person that, you know, it gets noticed and your neighbor complains because you give them a chance to correct it, and if they dismiss and, don't attend and don't communicate, well, that's when
think things go a lot better when it's handled as a commission as opposed to individuals. So I'm very grateful that Megan and Paul, you joined me for the site visit, because it makes it a lot better when you have more than one set of eyes on something, and it's not just your opinion being seen as an individual disrupting a big grant for the town, because that's not my intention. My intention is just to do my job as a commissioner.
Yep.
All right, so I think that gives us good direction for that.
I have a few questions,
Sure, what's up, Dave?
more than a few.
All right, is it okay, so as far as public comment goes, would it be okay to keeping to the 2-minute, like, limit that we use on
I'll
this?
try,
like,
but I think there's more than that. So the first question is, when did you get the contract
The contract?
of what needed to be done down there, right? You just said you just got a hold of it a while ago, right?
I got a so let me look at my email, because that's when I have like a record of when I sent things out.
And while you're doing that, when did you meet with the DEP? Not this last couple of Sundays, but they came out, did you come out there when they first came out there?
In I think it was
In
late,
June.
late June, yes.
You were there?
I was
So
there
you knew there was
with
gonna
Becky
be road, you
Gendreau.
knew there was gonna be a major road work there, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
At that
You
point,
said
it's
you weren't notified, but you knew there was gonna be a major reconstruction on that road, correct?
Yep.
Okay, there's no DEP file on this whole entire road. The only thing you have is a maintenance permit, which, one of the highway superintendents got that, so they didn't have to keep running to you guys every time they want to go into the wetlands to clean or repair a catch basin.
Yep.
Now, this whole entire road is wetlands on both sides. It was supposed to be 4,300 feet of wattles put down. Nothing got put down until last week. Except maybe there was 20 feet, I think, and they were in the pond. They weren't even doing anything. So where were you guys doing all this, is what I wanna know.
We
If that
received
was
no
me,
application
if that
for
was
this.
me, I'd be in court for what took place down there. Filling in wetlands, digging, they even passed the power lines, they were digging in the wetlands last week. They're doing the next section right now. And everybody's just looking the other way, blaming everybody. It's a very, very simple thing that we had to follow. So I wanna know why you guys weren't out there doing and getting a DEP file number.
Because it's not our responsibility to get the DEP file number.
Well, you should follow up, you're the commission, you should go out and say, hey, you guys gotta do this and this, nobody did it.
You know, that's fair. We very well could have.
Yeah, it's more than fair, I'm just trying to find out what happened here. There's been so many screw-ups on this road, you know? Everyone wants to get the road done, including myself, but you gotta follow the proper procedures. And nothing was done here. Wetlands were filled in, no wattles, nothing, no DEP file number was filed. What's going on? And you were out there in June,
I was out there in June for
and
the
you guys
culvert
should have been
replacements.
out there multiple times.
So I think, like Dave, I think you have a good point there.
It's not a point, it's just a fact of what took place.
Well, however you want to phrase it.
Okay.
But as far as the application goes, it's not the commission's responsibility to make sure that applications occur. What we could have done is we could have seen that this work is going above and beyond anything that was permitted for and done an enforcement order.
Right. So
That is
you
something
gotta
that we
get-
could
you gotta-
have done.
right.
So, in our defense, and it's not a strong defense, is that we are a new commission, we're doing our best, and we're volunteers, and I know it's a bunch of BS, like from the point of view, like we signed up for this, we gotta do what we're assigned to do.
Mhm.
I went out there in June, I extended the invitation for others to attend the site visit, and sometimes it's hard to get people out there. And
Yeah.
when I'm there individually, trying to defend the need for permitting, and I'm getting pushback from the town, it's a very acrimonious arrangement, where I'm being told that I'm jeopardizing the grant for this road if I file an enforcement order. It puts me in a personal, difficult position to try to defend that. So that's why I think we as a commission need to stick together when it comes to things of this nature, because it's not just me versus the town, it's wetlands regulations that we need to make sure that are being followed. So,
I get that.
so
And I know one selectman made a remark that they're not gonna go for any permits because it's gonna hold up the whole process. And they don't care about the law, and they said, we're gonna get the road done. That I do know.
yeah, and
Wasn't me.
That wasn't you, no.
Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
ain't mention any names, but that was a statement made,
Yeah,
and
and
here we are, and I mean,
yeah, I think.
you're worried about the lady cutting trees, you know, she's gonna do this and that, making sure everything's cool when she cuts the trees. Look at the road, thousands of feet
Yeah.
along the wetlands, and nothing got done.
Well,
You're worried about a couple of trees coming down?
well, Dave, the
Listen,
difference.
I'm gonna, sorry, Steve, I'm gonna come to Steve's defense though, because I feel like it was washy on what was actually in the NOI maintenance and what wasn't a part of it and what was. I feel like you said, the culverts were part of it, part of the maintenance, but the road widening wasn't. Did the road actually get wider? Like, there's a lot of ifs and buts and no clear thing. So I'm gonna come to Steve's defense and say that I think that they did the best that they could do with what they had and in the time frame too, because you know, we had to go out to bid, we had to award even for us,
Oh,
like the
I
selectmen.
get all that, I've been at all the
We were
meetings.
literally told within 3 hours, okay, we have to award a contract tonight, and we're like, wait, what are you talking about? I thought we were gonna have more time on this, so I feel like it was very like time sensitive, and everyone was like, yeah, you're gonna lose the grant if you don't do this and that, and I feel like that also played a huge factor
So-
too.
I mean, what's your expectation right now? I mean,
Well, I got one more thing. You say there's, you know, signing contracts is a quick thing and this and that. That was back in June. The work didn't start for months later by this contractor. So there was plenty of time to do all this and no one did it. So you can't say, oh, everybody's rushed signing this, that. No. It was back in June. The guy didn't start till when? November?
Yeah.
October,
So-
maybe October. Yeah. So it was, you can't say, oh, we got rushed to do this. No. The process wasn't followed.
Mhm.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
And you guys, you know, I'm not trying to beat up on you guys, but somebody should have been said, hey, you gotta follow the process here. And there wasn't if maybe we widen the road. The road was widened into the wetlands. It's not if maybe, but it was done.
Yeah, and we will have to do
And
remediation
nobody,
for
and
that.
the contractor was
Dave.
supposed to put the wattles up, not the highway department.
Yes, okay. Just so I can follow up with what you said,
Yeah,
after the site visit in June 22nd, I believe that was the date,
yeah,
in speaking with the highway superintendent, I asked two things. One, are you going to submit an application for the road construction?
right.
And the answer that I got was no. And at that point, Becky Gendro from Mass DEP said, well, two, then you need to do these other things. One, invite the commission to the pre-construction meeting for this project,
Yeah,
and two, provide the engineered plans to the commission. I requested both of those things. My site visit notes say that. I have the emails. We were not invited to the pre-construction meeting, and I did not receive the drawings. I could have followed up more vigorously to say, hey, where's this project stand? Did you have the pre-construction meeting yet? So it's a personal failing on my part to not just be persistent about it. I was basically just, I put my request out there, I didn't hear anything back, and then stuff happened. So that's a personal failing on my part that I should have been more diligent to follow up on this until I get answers.
You're not
So-
really a babysitter.
It just sucks when you're getting so much pushback from town officials when you're trying to do your job. That's like, I suggest to do these things. It's like, so yeah, I think moving forward we need to have a more constructive.
follow through on what's going on.
Yeah, and
I
like-
get, and I know all the crap behind the scenes, yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pushback. But you gotta, but someone should say, hey, you know, we gotta do this and this and
Yeah.
that. Doesn't matter what anybody else is pushing for,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, Kristen, do you want to say something? Sorry. I thought I heard you
Yes,
starting
ma'am.
to say something.
Alright, so I got one more question. What are you gonna do as far as the resource area now, once, you know, you said you're gonna follow up afterwards, when's that gonna take place?
Well, we're doing a site visit hopefully before next meeting, or next, we meet once a month, so,
That's not very often, you know?
well, we're meeting one additional time because we have a executive session before then, but our current schedule is to meet once a month. So, before then, granted the road has been paved now, from what I understand yesterday, based on the announcement that went out. I think we need to look at the current conditions, have a conversation with, I'm assuming with Kyle, because he's the closest thing to a project manager on this. And then by next meeting, we can establish like what has taken place and what remediation is required. So if the road has been widened into wetlands and areas, then we need to replicate that. We need to do a measurement of how much of the wetlands were encroached, and then those wetlands need to be replicated elsewhere. They
Can you
need to
do
be-
that? That's a lot of mathematics.
Yes.
That's,
So we very
you may
well.
have to get someone to help you do
We
that.
don't do that. That's, I mean, if there were an applicant who did this, then it would be on them to hire their consultant and have an engineer come out and
Right.
Yeah.
set that. So that would be, I mean, I guess technically we would, because we are still a town entity. But in any case, I think that's, you know,
That was my suggestion, or gonna be my suggestion, since there's pretty decent amount of money left in the grant budget, I would see if Kyle could use the grant money to hire Corey to come back out to see if remediation needs to be done.
Mhm.
So that way you get your third-party reviewer, but have the grant still pay for it, so that way we're not out of the money.
is Corey's truly third party though?
Corey, well, yeah, because he wrote the original RFP, so you could hire somebody else, but
Right.
it depends. You could hire the third party, which would be somebody else, or you could just have Corey come out. But either way, I would like to ask the question if Kyle could somehow get that paid through the grant. And we have a grant writer now, and we also have Rebecca from Roughly Consulting following the grant. So that'd be a question for Kyle to ask her.
Well, it's hard to even do anything with that since we don't even have the engineering plans, right?
We do. I emailed them to the commission.
We did get them?
Yeah, I emailed them 2 weeks ago when I went to Kyle. He said he doesn't have a digital copy of it, but he presented me a printed copy, so I scanned it and I emailed it to the commissioners.
I'm gonna be honest, I just don't think that the drawings are what's out there on the road now. So
No, I've read that as well,
I would be
but
curious.
they're not accurate.
Yeah, they're not anywhere near as accurate. So I would like to see
I mean,
what is actually out on the road and have somebody evaluate what's on the road and not necessarily what's on the plans. Because the plans aren't going to depict
they
what's
don't,
out
yeah,
there.
they
Yeah.
really don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah,
No,
so literally the
they're just confusing.
$130,000 that we spent on the plans.
Wasted.
Yeah, wasted.
Out the window.
Yeah.
Wallpaper at best.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing I'll say is, if there's no money left, what they didn't do on the first part, they're gonna take that money supposedly from the contractor, and they're putting it at the other end. There's like 144, 150,000, some figure. The work that didn't get done on the road, they're taking that money and they're putting it at the other end to finish the road on the other end. So I don't think there's gonna be any money for engineering. No, and contractors should pay for it, not us. That's my opinion, yeah.
And it might depend on the contract, the wording in the contract, if it establishes who responsible parties are.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, so that's something that will have to be looked into.
okay.
It might not necessarily
Just
be on.
bringing this,
Yeah,
bringing it forward.
Alright, so I think we have some next steps. And I think we should perhaps reach out to wetland specialists to see if they would be able to assist with this, but I think we need to confirm what budget is for this before we pursue that. So I'll coordinate with Select Board and Highway Department, I guess, as a starting point on that. Does it sound reasonable to involve the Select Board in that decision, Sarah? Like as far as the quote, or is that?
You can just update us.
Okay,
Yeah, I would do what you think is best.
alright. We'll involve Kyle in the conversation at the very least. Yeah, I think we'll try to schedule one more site visit, given current conditions, so we can be a little bit thorough in terms of what areas seem like they might be encroaching in the wetlands. But again, we are not engineers, we're not wetland specialists, so hiring a specialist for that is a very well taken point.
Brandon and Dorms.
Alright, so I'll coordinate with parties, and I'll send her an email to the commission so we can schedule that. And then invite Kyle to our next meeting so we can go into more detail as a full commission. Alright, any other questions on that, or comments on that topic?
Thank you for hearing me.
No, sure thing, Dave. Alright, next agenda item. Re-review confidentiality of executive session minutes 3/28/24 and vote to release or unrelease these minutes. Alright, so at our last meeting, we reviewed executive session minutes from 3/28/2024. And afterwards, I got some concerns about whether the confidentiality period of those minutes had been satisfied, and also whether the commission agreed to release the minutes. And for my recollection, we did vote to release the minutes, but my recording of last month's meeting was muted, so unfortunately I don't have an audio record of whether or not we voted on that. So just to clear the air on that, I just figured we would just get it on the books, so if anybody is concerned whether what the status of these minutes are, I still think it's fine to release them, so long as other commissioners don't object. I think their period of confidentiality has long since elapsed.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here, MGL 38, section 22F. Public body must review session minutes at reasonable intervals to determine if continued non-disclosure is warranted, because releasing them would defeat the lawful purposes of the executive session. I think that's where we're working under the guys there, and there may not have even been a good reason to have an executive session. And I think part of it is also what the allegations included are public record at that point. So under that circumstance, I believe that there's no need to withhold the executive session at that point.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. Yes, Sarah?
I know you guys voted to release the minutes, and I know it's not on the agenda to redo it, but just a comment. My name's in the minutes, saying that I said something to the chair, and I never said that, and so I prefer the minutes to not say my name, as he has no proof that I said it. And so I was not a commission member, I wasn't the all boards clerk, that's a citizen, so even if I did make the complaint, that's my right to say if it was anonymous or not, and that was never asked if I wanted to make that complaint anonymous or not, but all complaints can be anonymous, so I'm just making that known that nobody bothered to ask me if there was value to what was in the executive session minutes.
Okay.
And I know you weren't on the commission, and I know you had notes, and I totally understand, so I'm not, but I prefer it to not have my name in there.
Alright. Would you be okay if we left it as is? Or
A citizen or somebody, something, I don't know.
Because I guess the concern is here is that I obtained a draft of those executive session minutes as they were written, and
Yes, and Bill was on the chair, on the committee too, but even after I got on the committee, the meeting after that executive session, and I have never seen those executive session minute drafts. And I don't think Bill has either. We never reviewed them at a meeting. They were never on the agenda to be reviewed.
well, I think they were in June, but
Then they were taken off, and it was never discussed ever. Like, we had no idea. It wasn't like we skipped over the agenda item or anything. It was never, the draft never even was presented.
well, based on the minutes in a meeting in June 2024, it said that the members who were there for the executive session got a copy of the minutes, but they were missing a page,
Yeah.
so they were taken back, and the review
And
was
then
postponed.
that was done. Yeah. But I wasn't even on the board to review the executive session minutes during it, so I never got a copy. And like, to me, it's like, I hate to say it, but like, I'm involved in it, so it's like I feel like I should have gotten a copy, if so to speak. If I was actually involved, then I feel like I should have had a right to see the executive session minutes and to check their accuracy of what I was supposedly said, because there's no email to back up or proof or text message or anything in writing to say that I complained to the chair.
So why don't we, I don't know if we have to go far as far as going to legal for this, but we should find out the precedent for amending approved minutes.
You can do that. You certainly can.
For executive session.
You can regardless, but I just don't, I feel like what occurred in that executive session is more than 18 months ago now, and I think a lot of the accusations and statements are hearsay.
To anyone here.
So I kind of just want to leave it as, preferably, I'd rather not stir the pot anymore and just leave it as is. But minutes are just a recollection of what happened at that meeting by who captured it.
No, but
Otherwise, we're going to get into this contentious thing of who said what over a year and a half ago, and I feel like we just got to, I would prefer to keep it, to close it out at this point, unless there is some serious concern about the representation of that. But
No, I'm not concerned. Like I said, I just want to bring up the fact that it wasn't ever asked if the complaint was legit, a serious complaint, anonymous or anything, or even if the complaint actually existed. So I wish the commission actually took the time and vetted the executive session drafts, that, so to speak, that the chair had given.
I think we did change a few things, didn't we?
we changed one thing, Bill, and that you meant, there was one section that you mentioned that you did not make a statement in that executive session.
Yeah.
So there was one section that was taken out about yeah. So
And it's hard because none of you were there either.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's a
So
brand.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill was the only one there. Yeah.
I mean, I think, trying to remember 18 months ago was the hard part, and then,
Yeah.
you know, also, it was my impression that a lot of it was recreated, that those minutes weren't available at the time, so. Regardless, I think what you have is the opportunity right now to go on record to refute that.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, and you're on the record now for these minutes.
Yeah.
But I think
So-
ideally, I'd like to leave these minutes.
You can. Yeah. And I'm not asking to you for read, but I just want to make the point
Okay,
that.
understood.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So, and as
Who
far
was
as
running who was chairman back in the day on this?
Chris Kelleher was chairman at that point.
Okay, that answers a lot. Okay.
And yeah, so I say that we keep the executive session minutes released, but just to keep it formal, I'd like to hear a motion to formally release the executive session minutes.
Motion to release the executive session minutes.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, state your name and aye.
Steve Santucci, aye.
He's keeping.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Nobody agree?
Megan Crane, aye.
Steve Carmen, aye.
Chris Sturdy's all aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, next agenda item, open meeting law complaint from John Holzcraft dated October 21st, 2025. So, Dave, you gave us a complaint last month,
I did.
and I shared it with the commission. Per our legal obligation, I requested an extension for response through the Attorney General.
Yeah.
I posted the response, your complaint on the associated documents as well. Would you like us to read your complaint?
Yes, I think it should be discussed fully with the other members so this doesn't happen again.
Alrighty.
I don't even know how I was. Well, you go ahead, do your thing, and then I'll do my part.
Alright. So your complaint reads, the date of the meeting where the violations took place was 3/28/24, but the minutes were not released to the public until 10/15/25, so the violation date is 10/15/25. On 3/28/24, the board met and held an illegal executive session to discuss me, a resident of the town. I had no knowledge of this session being held until days after the minutes were released because the chair at the time, Christopher Kelleher, intentionally and improperly used exemption number 5 to hide it from the public and me, and did not provide enough detail on the topic for the public to have any knowledge that it was even related to the Wetlands Act or not. I believe several violations occurred during this meeting. 1, it was improperly posted using exemption number 5. The discussion was not about anything that was under the purview of the board, so it was improper for them to meet as a board for this purpose. It was merely done by Kelleher in order to defame me and attempt to damage my reputation to the other members of the board because I made complaints. If such a charge was to be made against me, it would have been made through proper legal channels and not as a topic for this board, whose job solely is to uphold the Wetlands Protection Act. 2. The discussion also included other false but non-criminal accusations that were damaging to my character and reputation. I did not threaten anyone. If they were going to have such a discussion, they should have used exemption number 1, and they should have notified me and allowed me to be there with my lawyer and given me an opportunity to have it in open session. All of the allegations made by Kelleher amount to nothing but hearsay, no doubt by his own creation, for his own personal agenda against me because I called him out, including his holding meetings in non-ADA compliant spaces in town, which he then had me forcibly removed by a police officer who was waiting for me in the next room for trying to notify the board that the meeting was improperly noticed and held in that location. Inclusion of unfounded topics regarding my motivation for attending an open meeting that was illegally held at the Annex building is ridiculous and slanderous. 3. Kelleher purposely withheld the document from the board members. See the 6/11/24 meeting minutes. Collecting the draft document from them, and then there was no actual criminal act. They did not have the board approve and release the minutes to the public, which never should have been on the agenda in the first place. This act was intentional and an abuse of authority which has caused me great harm. The draft minutes that were posted to the town website were redacted, but apparently not in a way that a person could not figure out how to still see what it said. I did not know how this works, but now I have a copy of these documents unredacted, and it has additional details that did not make it into the final minutes, including a statement from another new member who provided information that supported me and not Kelleher's narrative that he created to deflect any from his own actions. And so that's your complaint, and the action that you want us to take states, I don't know how the town can undo the damage created by this, but those responsible for posting the executive session and then conducting the discussion should be held accountable for their actions. I think a statement should be made publicly by the town that they were wrong to allow this to happen, at the very least. Alright, so that's your complaint. I prepared a draft response to the complaint, and I printed it out and shared it with commissioners, and Dave, I gave you a copy of it before the meeting as well. So I'd like to read that. Is that okay? Is it okay if we
Yes.
read through that too?
Absolutely.
If commissioners have any feedback for it, we can review it now because our extension for the response to the Attorney General is tomorrow, so I'll finalize this tomorrow and send it to them once we've approved at that point. Alright, so my draft response is, Dear Mr. Holdcraft, this letter is in response to the open meeting law complaint you filed against the Brookfield Conservation Commission with the alleged violation date of 10/15/2024. The commission received your complaint on 10/27/25. Allegations and responses. Alright, so for your first allegation, number 1, which states which is summarized as the executive session agenda on 3/28/24 was an improper usage of executive session purpose number 5 and should have been held for purpose number 1. My response to that allegation is executive session purpose number 5 reads as follows: to investigate charges of criminal misconduct or to consider the filing of criminal complaints. So that's what purpose number 5 states. And according to the minutes for the executive session, the topics discussed in the executive session were to discuss how to respond to your behavior at a previous commission meeting held on 2/15/24, where you allegedly plan to interrupt this meeting due to an accessibility violation with the meeting location, and to discuss any action, including potentially filing a criminal complaint regarding the allegation that you intimidated a potential candidate from joining the commission. The alleged activities which resulted in these topics are contentious and reliant on hearsay. To justify the selection of executive session purpose number 5, the former chair, Christopher Kelleher, would have concluded that the alleged violations were related to discussing the filing of a criminal complaint, and the alleged activities affected the commission, and deliberating the matter with a quorum was desirable. Your complaint scrutinizes the veracity of the allegations stated in the executive session minutes, which in effect questions the propriety of the executive session held under purpose number 5. However, the commission is not in a position to evaluate the veracity of the allegations within these minutes. According to the minutes, the discussion was indeed about potentially filing a criminal complaint, and for that reason, executive session purpose number 5 appears to be suitable regardless of the veracity of the discussed allegations. Undeniably, the 3/28/24 agenda did not identify the topic to be discussed in the executive session. This was a shortcoming on the Commission's part, and the agenda should have identified your alleged activities as the topic while accounting for confidentiality as necessary. This agenda posting clarification would have given you a fair opportunity to inquire about this agenda item in the executive session minutes in a timely manner. Regarding your claim that the Commission should have instead entered executive session under purpose number 1, purpose number 1 reads, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. The 3/28/24 minutes do not suggest the purpose of the executive session was to discuss your reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health. The purpose of the discussion was to discuss your alleged activities related to the Commission, and the former chair believed these activities were potentially worthy of filing a criminal complaint. Moving forward, the Commission will be more transparent by posting the topics of executive sessions and be more accurate when choosing the purpose of an executive session. Allegation number 2, which reads, the discussion in the executive session on 3/28/24 included defamatory statements and accusations which are damaging to Mr. Holdcraft's reputation. My response to that is, your allegation of defamation is outside the scope of the open meeting law. Furthermore, allegation pertains to statements made by personnel no longer on the Commission. As such, the Commission has no further comment on this allegation. The next allegation, number 3, the former chair purposely withheld the 3/28/24 executive session minutes draft from board members at the 6/11/24 meeting. My response to that is, according to the minutes of the 6/11/24 meeting, this is what occurred when the former chair, Mr. Kelleher, shared the 3/28/24 executive session minute drafts for the Commission's review. So this is reading the 6/11/24 minutes, which reads, Mr. Kelleher said he would need the minutes back, and they were only for the Commission members who attended the meeting. Ms. Campbell did not receive a copy of the minutes as she was not a member at that time. Mr. Meeker asked if there was a page missing between the pages numbered 1 and 3. Mr. Kelleher apologized for the missing page and took the executive session minutes back. No vote was taken. So that's what the 6/11/24 meeting summarizes for that attempt to review the minutes. So per this record, it appears the original minutes review was incomplete and postponed. Executive session minutes are confidential until released, so it is typical for copies of the minutes to be withheld while confidentiality remains. Mr. Kelleher resigned from the Commission the month following the 6/11/24 meeting, and unfortunately, the review and approval of these executive session minutes fell through the cracks during this personnel change. As such, it appears the minutes were only purposely withheld due to their confidentiality, which is acceptable of executive session minutes. The long delay for the approval and release of these minutes is unacceptable, however, and moving forward, the Commission will strive to do better. And the final allegation, number 4, 3/28/24 executive session draft minutes had details which did not make it into the approved minutes. My response to that is, indeed, the following content from the original draft of the 3/28/24 executive session minutes, originating from the June 11th, 24 meeting, did not make it into the approved minutes. In that section that was not in the final approved minutes was Mr. Meeker's appointment. Mr. Meeker stated that Mr. Holdcraft called him once he got appointed. Mr. Kelleher questioned if the call was in any way to dissuade him from joining. Mr. Meeker said no, that it was more like he was being felt out by Mr. Holdcraft. And at the Commission's 10/15/25 meeting, when these minutes were reviewed, William Meeker, the only current member who served on the Commission on 3/28/24, requested that the aforementioned paragraph be removed from the minutes. Per Mr. Meeker's recollection, the details of this discussion occurred outside the meeting, and it was not discussed during this executive session. This revision of the minutes was for accuracy and not intended to alter the narrative. Mr. Meeker acknowledges that you called him to welcome him to the Commission. And then for our remedies that we can address through your open meeting law complaint, to remedy the potential violations and concerns with the Commission's compliance with the open meeting law, moving forward, we will take the following actions. When agendas indicate an executive session item, we will also indicate the topic to be discussed in executive session. Please note confidential details will be omitted from the agenda posting. We will be deliberate and accurate when choosing the purpose for entering executive session. We will strive to review and approve executive session minutes within the schedule requirements applicable to all minutes. We will assess executive session minutes periodically to determine if they are ready to be released. Additional grievances expressed in your complaint are outside the open meeting law and involve personnel no longer on the Commission. So although we may not have remedies for those grievances, the Commission will strive to serve you and all members of the public fairly and with dignity. So that's our response. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add? Or any comments, or?
No. Well said.
Thank you. And for transparency, the former chair, Mr. Kelleher, did send an email with providing some context about the purpose of the executive session, so I shared that with the commissioners as well. I think his statements, I created this draft prior to reading his statement, but I think given it's the reason for executive session number 5 to consider the filing of a criminal complaint, I think it kind of follows out on that, just based on what was presented in those minutes. But I was not there, so it's hearsay.
I think discussion of it means you have to post it as a document now, don't you?
What's that?
Since we mentioned it,
It'll be added as a meeting material.
it will be, okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
What's that?
What did you just discuss? What was the purpose?
Well, for our consideration, the former chair, Chris Kelleher, sent us a summarization of what happened at that executive session and why he initiated it for purpose number 5. So Bill's question was whether that document would need to be posted to the meeting, and I said that it needs to be listed as a meeting material on the agenda, or sorry, on the minutes. So we'll make sure that it's added to the minutes as a meeting material.
Okay, because if, as a Bill's the only one that was here, so as a commission, just to, what you stated here, that should never brought me into an executive session through this commission, your commission. There was nothing there. I mean, whoever was the board members, Bill, you should have all said, no, this has got nothing to do with our commission, nothing. And as far as meeting in the ADA, they had to do the meeting over. The AGA stated that the town cannot use that building, and that meeting that the commission had to have the meeting redone over again, which they did.
Yep.
So all this should have not have been done against me, but we know the reason why. And as you guys, as a commission going forward, you should not let this type of stuff happen again, in your meeting or an executive session.
I'll comment on that, Dave.
Please do.
As far as the rationale for the meeting, I mean, I think there wasn't a whole lot of detail. It was just something that was put on the agenda by the chair. So, from my understanding at that point, there was really, I mean, we can't really, we weren't really up to speed with what was going to happen and what the discussion at that meeting was going to be, at the executive session. We didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know. I didn't really even know who you were at that point, to be honest with you. And all I knew was that there was an incident at the meeting at the annex, the library annex.
I think that was your first meeting.
That was my very first meeting there.
Correct.
And it was my impression that somehow that was going to be part of the discussion. So, it was somewhat vague why we're going into executive session. But the idea was, there was some sort of a complaint that needed to be discussed. And I believe that's in the executive session minutes that were released as well. But I think that it was nothing that was done to dissuade the public, in my opinion, from the whole entire commission. I can't speak for the chair and his motivation for it, but do understand that if there's any individual in the community who potentially poses any sort of a risk to the commission, you know, if it's, you know, supposed, if it's alleged, it's something that we still have to take seriously and discuss. And from my perspective, that was why we had to meet on that. And whether we can substantiate anything or not, that's not our job. And in this particular instance, I'll comment on it. The idea was not to file charges, because we can't file charges. We don't have any authority to file charges. The idea at that point was, okay, we don't know what's going on. Let's pass this on to the people who it's their job to do. So that was my impression of where we were coming from, and that's why we chose to go into executive session, because we didn't want to have any liability on our side, but we also didn't want to have any of our commission members in danger. And that was solely the reason from my perspective, and just to go on record so you understand that. And I hope that kind of clarifies it a little bit better for you.
Well, a little bit, but you were there at that meeting, and you saw there was none of this, all these allegations that he said that criminal and all this stuff, none of that took place. I was very professional, it's all on camera, everybody can see it, there was no nothing, there was no violation of crimes, there was no yelling, screaming, I wasn't out of control.
Sure.
And you were there. So when this came up to executive session, you should have said, hey, no, nothing, no. We shouldn't go forward with this. Plus, you as a commission, you guys didn't follow the executive session rules. I have to be notified legally by a phone call and by mail, and that wasn't happening either. And were you guys even on the agenda properly? I don't think it was on the agenda properly either.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, the agenda just listed executive session purpose number 5.
Which should have been one, right?
It very well could have. The potential argument against that would be if there's something confidential about posting that. So if there was
Right.
consideration for filing a criminal complaint and listing you on that was a concern about jeopardizing the criminal complaint,
Right.
it could be considered confidential.
But that
I can
has
only
nothing to do
speculate.
with the commission. Let's say a crime did occur that night, that had nothing to do with the commission, that would have to do with the proper authorities, the police or whoever, not with the commission.
But if it impacts the commission and the commissioners, and by open meeting law, those commissioners have to, when they deliberate, they have to be in a quorum. In the
Right.
purpose of the executive session, to consider filing a criminal complaint, I mean, based on the allegation that you intimidated a potential candidate to the commission, that does involve the commission. It does involve commissioners.
That's all hearsay anyway.
It is hearsay, absolutely.
From the former,
But regardless if it's
Yeah.
hearsay, the
Right.
purpose of the executive session holds, because the purpose, even though it's hearsay, was to consider filing a criminal complaint for that. And that does involve the commission, it involves the commissioners, and if they have to discuss
Right,
that as a
right.
public body, they have to do so in a meeting.
right,
And it's the chair's discretion to decide whether an executive session is held. So, just speculating, the purpose of the executive session was to keep that confidential because the conversations in there might have been important to the pursuit of filing a criminal complaint. That's not adding substance to the veracity of the complaint, but just the process of why it happened.
that's all bogus, all that,
Very-
nothing happened that night, it was all
That's
bogus.
very well, but we are not here to make a judgment on that.
No,
want to say
I
that.
know, but I'm just, yeah, I mean, this is going, like you said, this is going beyond open meeting law violation, and it is gonna go further, it's in the works, but I'm just letting you as a commission, you know, you cannot just make decisions like that, so, oh, it's criminal, let's go in executive session, you cannot do that.
Okay,
So I'd like to make a motion to accept the responses presented.
and can you also amend that to, allow me to respond to the Attorney General?
Sure, and, yeah, I thought that was implied, but yes, and also have Steve Carmen respond to the Attorney General as well.
A second?
Any discussion? All in favor, state your name and aye.
Steve Sinatucci, aye.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Bill Meeker, aye.
Megan Crane, aye.
Steve Carmen, aye.
Mr. Paul, aye.
Alright, great, thank you.
I didn't know that.
Alright, so Dave, I'll have that complaint out, tomorrow.
That's
But,
fine,
yeah, you'll see, you have it there as well.
right.
Okay, our next agenda item is Salmon Brook Dam removal project updates. So this is something that we touched upon very briefly as an unanticipated item in our last agenda because the engineering firm contacted me the day before our agenda and said they wanted us to attend their pre-construction meeting. So at that point, Bill and myself agreed to attend the pre-construction meeting for the Salmon Brook Dam removal. So we met with their team, which was Ty and Bond, Mass Wildlife, Sumco, and us. So how many people were there? Like 15 or so?
There were a lot.
Yeah, so we went to check out the Salmon Brook Dam area. I posted on as an agenda material the pre-construction agenda, which outlines the scope of the project and the timeline. So we got caught up to speed on this. And just for the commission's awareness, this is something that was presented to the commission in December of last year. So there's an area, if you go down Long Hill Road, there's a wildlife management area. There's also a road called Salmon Brook. And if you go down the path that way, there's a dam down there that is in poor condition. And Mass Wildlife is the owner of that property. And as a mitigation, because if that dam were to break, it would be a flooding hazard. They're removing the dam in a controlled manner. So they reviewed the project for us, the timeline, and during that we established that we would be reviewing erosion controls once they have them in place. So we scheduled that as well. So that was my site visit report that I posted as an agenda item. As a meeting material. So they're using filter tubes with composted material in them. I took a bunch of photos, but it lines up perfectly with the plan, so they did a great job with that. So no concerns there.
Is that a beaver dam, Steve, or a regular dam?
It's a regular dam.
Okay.
It's like a natural it's like a historic dam. This entire area is like historic, so that's why they are approaching this in a very like a sensitive, considerate manner too. It's a cool area though. It's my first time checking it out. And there was also one incident that happened, and Ty and Bond notified the commission of it. I forwarded the email to the commissioners, where there's a stone culvert crossing, and the contractor disturbed that area out of sequence. So they wanted us to go check it out, and I did. Dan Hammerberg from Ty and Bond met me there, and they're going to take care of it. The engineered plans do describe how they're going to stabilize that area. So I just wanted to share what suggestions I had for them to stabilize that area, because as a commission we should be kind of reviewing these things before any of us just makes unilateral decisions outside of our quorum.
Did they explain whether it was an accident or just because the machines that were coming through they did it, or?
I think they jumped the gun because they're behind on schedule.
Gotcha.
Like in this area, they are not putting erosion controls in place anyway. So there's a stone culvert crossing, there's a stream running through, and they need to. The original plan, from my understanding, was to remove that to allow fish to flow through, but the commission also had a consideration to preserve the stone crossing because it's a walking trail as well. So they're considering both of those. But yeah, they altered the position of those stones beforehand. But
that's what they said. They're just going to leave the stepping stones, right?
yes. So they basically got to that point, but they weren't supposed to do that until after the fact. But I took some photos. I put that as a site visit, a separate site visit report, I think, on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the November 8th. So I didn't post the recommendations that I sent to the team because that would be deliberation outside our quorum, but I'll read it to you right now, just so we're all on the same page. And if anybody else has any feedback, I'll include that to the contractor. Let's see. And I spoke with Ty and Bond about this because they are specialists and I'm just the commissioner, but their recommendation for the wording about remediation was After the culvert stones have been reset to allow fish passage and pedestrian crossing, please stabilize the disturbed soils within 20 feet of the edge of the bank on both sides of Salmon Brook between the limit of disturbance. Stabilization will include placing seed mix made up of 50% wetland seed mix and 50% restoration seed for dry sites covered by 100% biodegradable erosion control blankets. Refer to the project drawings for the specified seed mixes and erosion control blankets. I'll forward this email to you all now.
And that won't happen until spring.
Probably. Which I think, given the alteration in that area, like there's no like loose sediment or anything that's of concern. Like, I think the biggest thing that they did is they brought their equipment in there when they probably shouldn't have done so yet. But they're gonna set up. They're gonna restabilize this area as part of their restoration plan. I'm gonna forward this to the commissioners now, and just to let you know, I didn't forward it in advance because this is deliberation. And all of that is covered in the original plan. It's just, it was taken out of sequence. But I was very happy that Ty and Bond contacted me immediately when they did that work out of sequence so we could take a look at it.
I was really surprised, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great to work with them. They're very, very responsive and inclusive, and yeah, it'd be cool to. So if you look at the timeline on the schedule for the pre-construction meeting, they're going to finish the dam removal within the next few weeks. So
Okay.
they're moving. They might be done with the actual core of this project by the end of the month. So does anybody else have any other considerations for that? And if you'd like to read the email afterwards and get back to me, we can do that as well. But any additional decisions we should make, we should do so among our quorum in an open meeting.
I just encourage everybody to go out there and see it.
Yeah, so weekends they're not working, so feel free to check it out. If you're driving down Long Hill Road, just look for the sign for Salmon Brook Road on the left, and you'll see a construction path open there.
Okay.
It's about like a half-mile walk
I was
to the
up there,
main
but I
dam.
wasn't sure about walking around and where to not walk around.
Wear your orange.
Yeah,
Wear your oranges on too.
Hunter's gonna be up there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't hunt, so I wouldn't have thought of that.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't hunt, so I wouldn't have thought of that. Thank you.
All right. So, but yeah, I mean the project's moving along, and they've been keeping us in the loop.
So, do we need to vote on your response, or?
Yeah, I think that'd be ideal. So I just forwarded everybody the email. The section in bold has my response. I've already shared it with them, but I noted in that email that we are meeting as a commission November 19th.
That's verbatim what you just read, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
But in that email to them, I noted that we will be discussing as a commission in case we have additional feedback. So.
Not coming through yet.
Did anybody else get it yet?
Did I just send it through Outlook?
Yes.
Firewalls.
Not yet, but if it's, what you just read off, I don't
Oh,
have any issues.
sorry, I sent it to the wrong I sent it to ComCom. I said ConCom. Hold on. Forward. Beth and Chris and Megan, you must actually know. I think it went to Beth directly on the communications committee. Forward. And Holly, you'll get a copy of this too, in case any of it's relevant for minutes. Yep. sent it to the right
Yeah.
group this time. Just to be clear, those conditions are also listed in the engineered plans. I didn't just come up with that out of nowhere, because I'm not that sophisticated.
So do you just want to vote to approve the proposed remediation? Is that good enough?
Yeah, it'd be great.
So motion to approve the proposed remediations that we've set up on, the original date.
November 8th.
November 8th. To, well, we don't need to give that much detail, but, yeah. Just as written in that email, which is attached.
A second?
Any discussion? All in favor, say your name and aye.
Steve Santucci, aye.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Bill Meeker, aye.
Megan Cranston?
Steve Carmen, aye. Oh, Kristen got dropped from the meeting.
She abstained.
I'm sorry, Kristen, I saw you got dropped from the meeting. We were just voting to approve the response for remediation for the Salmon Brook Dam removal, the premature adjustment to the stone culvert. We'll track you as abstained. Sorry. Alright, next agenda item. Next agenda item. 54 West Main Street, follow-up on conservation restriction / donation. This is an agenda item that's come back a few times, so we had the property owner come to us and ask if we would be willing to help her with doing a conservation restriction or donation of their property. I have not had time to make any movement on this.
What did, can you explain this one more time?
Yes, so this is from, I think, 2 meetings ago. There's a resident who owns some property at 54, well, she's actually not a resident. She owns some property at 54 West Main Street, which is past Dollar General. It's probably undevelopable land because of the amount of wetlands on it. So she's looking to make a donation, conservation restriction or donation of the land. So she reached out to the commission to see if we could assist with that. And we said that we would help with that. It's not within our responsibilities, but I think it would be a cool thing for us to do. We did have some personnel turn over inside based on availability of who can help with that. So last meeting I said I'd take the head on that, but I've been slammed this past month, so I haven't had a chance to make a headway on it.
I can help. She just wants to know information about putting the land into,
A conservation restriction or a donation, I mean, we can coordinate on that. Like, if a sub-quorum of us wants to kind of make some headway on that, we could reach out to land trusts in the area too, see if they could help with that.
okay.
I mean, it's something that many conservation commissions do. In Brookfield, we don't really have any conservation restriction land as of yet, but this might be our first foray into pursuing that.
Should.
Okay, I can research that
Okay,
in
yeah,
the
thank
next
you,
few
Megan.
weeks.
Do you want to reach out to legal too? Or do you feel comfortable with that? I think they might be able to help us facilitate it at least.
You mean town council?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can coordinate with town council on that too, once we do our initial assessment of
Yeah,
the next
What we
steps.
want to do, I mean, yeah, it may be, I don't see anywhere in the bylaws where we're not allowed to do that, but it may be something that, past practices dictate that we don't do that, so I don't know why we don't seem to have any conservation land in town.
Yeah, I mean, many towns do, so it could be worth reaching out to other commissions whose towns have conservation land and see what their process was. And Megan, when you were talking about the conference, the fall conference, you mentioned that there were some talks about some conservation commissions who have conservation land, like you mentioned in Stowe, where
Yes.
they purchased an area of a former golf course, right, and restored that to conservation use. So this is not an unheard of thing. So, but we do need to do some research, and perhaps that will lead us to town council if we need some legal advice on that. We did kind of have some shuffle about who was going to help with that. Would anybody else like to, like a third member, so when you have less than a quorum, who would like to kind of coordinate on this too? Steve, you wanna?
Yeah.
Or you offered last meeting too. So just us three, I guess? We can kind of do some research and coordinate? I'll send out an email so we can gain some traction on this. Alright, cool. So that's all I got for that. No other updates. Next agenda item, planning for conservation land in town. And Bill, this is an item that you brought up last meeting. So I put it on our agenda. I think it's these kind of tie together, but I wanted to put it on our agenda in case there was some conversation we wanted to, or planning that we wanted to do toward this. I don't have anything as of now. Bill, did you have anything yet?
No, first I'd like to know what's, you know,
Oh, Kristen, yes?
I would love to join trying to get more town conservation land as a separate group, to be honest. Because I think that there's a lot of conservation committees that actually do like, they get grants for signage and they have hiking trails and it's really great for the town. So I would love to help on a different team besides that other one. That way there's like a team of 3 on the other division or on the other agenda and on this agenda as well.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So at the very least, we want to establish perhaps a less than a quorum group to kind of pursue that, like the investigation and planning of conservation land in town? Any other takers?
I'd do that.
Okay, I think it'd be great if we had somebody overlapping between the two, although we cannot have like serial conversations where it reaches a quorum in a sense, but yeah, I think it'd be great if, so the conversations that we have about the 54 West Main Street, maybe we don't have those outside of a public meeting with the other group. But yeah, I'll make a motion to have Kristen Reeves Hall, Bill Meeker, and Megan Crane conduct planning for conservation land in town to present to our next meeting? Or to present to a future meeting?
At the future meeting, because
Yeah, understood.
And then they can get it on
you
the
look at,
agenda if there's worthy information.
I mean, you look at things like, you know, Rice Reservoir, right? And then you look at this, which is kind of landlocked in between Molasses Hill and.
Bye guys,
But,
good night.
I mean, it's, you look at that, it says it's actually owned by State Department of Conservation. So, I mean, little things like that. I mean, is this something, you know, just throwing things out there? It's just, we're going forward trying to have them sign off and give that land, donate that land to the town, or we have our own town coffers of conservation land. So that's kind of what I'm wondering, because we do have town property that we fall under Wetland Protection Act, but it's not necessarily dedicated conservation area.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why it's a confusion, kind of gray area when we talk about this, because we don't technically have town conservation area.
Okay, yeah, agreed. So, I made a motion, it did not get a second, so I'm gonna say that it fails.
Oh,
I don't
sorry.
think, but I don't think we need to make a decision tonight on this, but,
Thank you, guys.
have a good one, David.
Enjoy your evening.
So, yeah, I don't think we have to make a decision on this tonight. I don't think we're gonna make headway on this before our next meeting.
No.
So, but I will keep in mind, well, we can keep in mind that Kristen, Bill, and Megan have expressed interest in pursuing this. If you wanna do anything on your own before our next meeting, please feel free, but if we want to kind of establish something more formal, let's hold off until our next meeting. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, so that's it for that agenda item. Next agenda item, payment vouchers for legal notices, MACC training, and MACC 2025 fall conference. I got a couple vouchers. First one is my own for 2 training courses, MACC training 103 and 205, those units. I took the 103 training on Monday of this week, and the 205 training's coming up in January, but I already booked it and paid for it. So it's $65 per training course, so the total amount is $130. Can I get a motion to approve the voucher for reimbursement to Steve
Motion,
Carmen?
I motion to approve the vouchers for Steve Carmen.
Second.
Alright, any discussion? All in favor, say your name and aye.
Steve Santucci, aye.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Bill Baker, aye.
Megan Crane, aye.
Alright, great, thank you. And I'll need an authorized signature for this because I can't sign for myself. Bill, would you?
Mr. Hall, aye.
Oh, sorry, thank you for saying.
You seconded?
No.
Who seconded it?
Oh, Paul, Paul.
I'll just, here.
Thank you.
Okay, and the other one is for a past due invoice that fell below our radar because it was inadvertently billed to the planning board instead of the conservation commission. This was for the legal ad for the Gay Road culverts that we talked about earlier today. But yeah, this is a legal ad that came to $58.96. I'd like to make a motion to approve the voucher for paying the legal ad for the Gay Road culvert replacement for $58.96.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, state your name and aye.
Steve Santucci, aye.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Bill Baker, aye.
Megan Crane, aye.
Steve Carmen, aye.
Mr. Hall, aye.
Alright, great, thank you. Alright, I know we're kind of running long on this meeting, but we got one last thing, and that's to review and approve minutes. Holly, you provided us a set of minutes for July 16th?
Huh? August 20th.
I have July 16th right here.
Is it, was this,
It's saved. Nope, August 20th. July 16th is,
so are these the August 20th minutes, but they just have the wrong date on them?
yes,
Okay,
sorry, I'll change the date.
that's all good.
Gotta be.
Oh, Kristen, you didn't get a copy of these minutes, right?
Sorry, but I can abstain. That's fine.
Alright, so long as a quorum of us are in agreement on
So we're
their
saving.
approval.
Alright, so under also present, it's spelled O-P-R-I-C-A, and then in the text, second paragraph, it's spelled O-P-R-I-K-A.
Okay.
So I don't know which one's correct.
I can tell you.
C, I believe.
Yeah, you're right, Holly, it's a C.
It's a C.
So change the K to a C there.
What paragraph is that
Under 37 Central Street, it's
on?
the
Okay,
second.
yeah.
talk about the inquiry about the land
Yeah.
donation too.
I have a question outside of this. Does anybody have the contact information for the woman who led the Sturbridge training session?
Yeah, she sent an email to the Conservation Commission email address. So
Oh, can you forward
I'll
it?
forward that to you. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I posted it on the agenda, this agenda as well, but I might have redacted her email address because it's personal email addresses outside of public officials are private information.
Yep.
I'll give it to you directly if you'd like to communicate with her.
Yeah.
That's good. Just the date and that one name spelling. That's all I got. Anybody else have any corrections or amendments? Alright, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the, I'll make a motion. I'm sorry, I'm a dictator. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for August 20th, 2025 as amended.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, state your name and aye.
Steve Santucci, aye.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Filmmaker, aye.
Megan Crane, aye.
Steve Carmen, aye.
Mr. Asala abstain.
Alright, great. And with that, our next, we're done with our agenda. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 3rd, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. This is an off-schedule meeting for an executive session to meet with town council, so I posted that. Steve, you mentioned that you were available remotely for that. I believe us three, or you
I can
three?
do
And Kristen, you're tentative, depending on your availability. So we will have a quorum. And then after that, our next regularly scheduled meeting is the third week of December, so we'll meet then too, for regular business.
Mhm.
That's December 17th, 5:30 p.m. And for that meeting, we're once again meeting in this police station meeting room because the Board of Health
Okay.
booked the town hall before I had a chance to post our meeting, so we'll be back there soon enough.
Sure.
Alright, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
7:21 p.m. Alright, all in favor? State your
Steve
name.
Santucci, aye.
Paul Spencer, aye.
Filmmaker, aye. Sorry.
Megan Crane, aye.
Steve Carmen, aye.
Mr. Asala, aye.
Alright. Thank you very much. And thank you, Kristen.
Oh, I'm on the pines.
Take care. You too. Bye. Kind of a longer meeting.
Do you have to bring this uptown?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think I just need to turn off the recording. I think Jake has the rest handled.
Okay. I don't know how to turn this off.
There's a red button, and I believe you.
That's a lock.
I'll do it. I'll
Yeah,
do it.
okay. I'm not gonna touch it. Everybody has a nice evening.
Happy Thanksgiving.